Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat?
We're looking forward to going up to Dallas and having a chance to play against a really good football team, an extremely well-coached football team, a team that's won a lot of games over the last few years. I think they're really good in all three phases. I think Mike Zimmer is one of the better defensive minds in our game. He's always done a really good job. Probably get after the quarterback as good as anybody in our league. You know, Micah Parsons, I think, is one of, if not the best defensive player in our league. You know, they're one of the higher scoring teams in our league over the last few years. The quarterback's playing really well. CeeDee Lamb is a heck of a receiver. Brandon Cooks. They play really, really well at home, and so it's a great opportunity for us.
Can we get an our league counter in there, Muse?
I counted 3.
Can we play it again and then get a ding every time we hear an our league? Is that something that's doable? All right, let's get an our league counter. Here we go. Dennis Allen. Let's go. We're looking for our league counters.
We're looking forward to going up to Dallas and having a chance to play against a really good football team, an extremely well-coached football team, a team that's won a lot of games over the last few years. I think they're really good in all three phases. I think Mike Zimmer is one of the better defensive minds in our game. He's always done a really good job. Probably get after the quarterback as good as anybody in our league.
There it is.
You know, Micah Parsons, I think, is one of, if not the best defensive player in our league. You know, they're one of the higher scoring teams in our league over the last few years. The quarterback's playing really well. CeeDee Lamb is a heck of a receiver. Brandon Cooks. They play really, really well at home, and so it's a great opportunity for us.
Oh, 3? Boy, he started slow, and I was like, was that you? And then they boom, they were all compressed right there. I mean, 3 our legs, I think, in one long run on.
And he wanted to, man, but I think he substituted an our game in
game,
there.
He did have an our game. That was close.
That was close.
Our game. At the end of the day is another one.
At the end of the day is another one.
At the end of the day. There's one I'm missing. There's an obvious one. Look.
Look. Yeah, look.
Look.
I think this.
I think this. Yes.
Wait.
Yes.
Oh gosh, there's another one too. It's gonna come to me later. I can't think of it.
When we would go to the Les Miles Monday press luncheons, I would. This is like 2000 and
the player
9, 10, 11. I mean, more than a decade ago. I would sit at the same table. You generally sit at the same spot, and Lee Feinswag was generally near me. And Lee would have a running tab for Les when he would say enjoy. There would be like he would put the words at the top of his legal pad, and he'd have columns like enjoy, whatever they were, and he would just sit there and he would tabulate want to, things like that. If a want. It would just be things like that. He would just sit there and tabulate the whole time. We'd always get a number at the end. So coaches have crutches.
Yeah, man.
Saints injury report is out here. First injury report of the week, and it is extensive. There are a lot of people listed. The good news is 4 of the players that are listed on the injury report are full participants, including A.T. Perry. Of course, last week, A.T. Perry injured his hand, middle of the week. He practiced on Wednesday. Thursday popped up on the injury report, that hand injury. So Perry didn't play. Now he's back. That's good news. Perry, Nick Saldivario had that calf injury in camp. He was a full participant. Rashid Shaheed was listed with a finger injury, but a full participant. And then Jamal Williams, who scored a touchdown on Sunday with a shoulder injury, but was a full participant. Interestingly enough, Jamal Williams, who 2 years ago led the NFL in rushing touchdowns, didn't score a touchdown in New Orleans his entire first season until, if you remember, the last game against Atlanta when Jameis called the audible at the line. That was the only touchdown Jamal Williams scored the entire year. And then first game of the season, boom, he rips one off there against Carolina and gets into the end zone. A little bit of a shoulder injury there for Jamal Williams, so we'll see how that might limit him. But he was full on Wednesday. Let's see. There were 4 players limited. Jalen Ford, Taliesin Fuanga listed with the back injury as limited. That's disappointing. Good to see Dallin Holker was back, a limited participant. But, of course, the rookie tight end back on the practice field is good. And then Foster Moreau limited with a concussion. We talked about that after the game. When Moreau hit the ground after that great catch on the sideline, you could see he kind of went They hit the magic button. He kind of went night-night there for a second. And I guess you could see his wrist went limp as he tried to pick himself up. You could just tell he was if you're watching an MMA fight, they would say, "Oh, he hurt him." Like if someone hits the right button and it kind of just puts you out for a quick second. It was very clear that's what happened to Foster. So hope he's okay and can get back quickly, but he was there just limited. And then there were 5 players that did not participate. The 2 very disappointing ones, 3 actually, are 3 starters. Now, Colin Saunders did not play last week. We know he's still out with a calf, so he's still on the list as a DNP. But Lucas Patrick, who left the game with a toe injury, Tyrann Mathieu didn't participate with a heel injury, and then Marshon Lattimore listed with both a hip and a hamstring did not participate. DeMarco Jackson with a calf injury, the other DNP. So, y'all, this is a very long, very extensive injury list for the New Orleans Saints. Usually when you get to the middle of the season, you might see this. That's when you're begging for an open date. You're begging for your bye to get some guys healthy. The fact that you're sitting here looking at 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13 players on the injury list here before week 2, that's concerning. And when Lattimore, Mathieu, Patrick, and Saunders, 4 starters, are DNPs, that's concerning. And then Fuanga, Moro, 2 more starters are limited. That's 6 starters that didn't participate or limited. Now, I don't worry about Lucas Patrick or Tyrann Mathieu or Marshon Lattimore or Foster Moro. These veteran players, I don't worry about them not practicing. What's the old Mike D line? Practices for the unskilled. If you're a starter in our league, thank you. So much of the objective is just get that player ready for Sunday. That's why, remember Ryan Ramczyk, as he was battling through his knee issues, Ramczyk would have a veteran day rest he never practiced on Wednesday. He was always on the injury report as a rest day. And then they'd get him limited on Thursday and sort of ramp him up on Friday and then get him ready to play on Sunday. So I'm not worried about the veterans there as long as they get ready to go for Sunday. And that's really all you're hoping for. As for Dallas, we'll run through it really quickly. The big one is Jake Ferguson. They're fantastic tight end. He's got the knee injury we learned. They feared initially it might be season ending. They got better news than expected. They're trying to get him ready to go this week. But Jake Ferguson was a DNP. Same with Marshawn Nealon with a calf. Tight end John Stevens did not participate with a hamstring injury, so that's 2 tight ends missing. The rest of the players that were all limited, Brandon Cooks, Eric Kendricks, DeMarcus Lawrence, Zach Martin, all rest days. That was the designation that Cam Jordan would get and Ryan Ramczyk would get. And then C.J. Goodwin, cornerback, limited with a foot injury. So a much abbreviated injury list for the Dallas Cowboys here week 1, but the big one to watch is Jake Ferguson. One more from Dennis Allen. We mentioned there with DeMarcus Lawrence, the defensive end, being there on the injury list, as is Marshawn Nealon, who did not participate. Allen was asked about how they're going to handle that Dallas pass rush this week.
I think it's a really good scheme. They have a really good pressure package, and so we'll have to be on point with how we're identifying who's coming, which way the protection's going, all those kinds of things, and so that'll be a challenge. And then when you have a good scheme and you have really good players doing it, it becomes even better.
Saints are at Dallas on Sunday, noon Central Time, of course. It's a huge opportunity for the Saints, the Saints and the Cowboys had, arguably the most impressive wins of the opening weekend. I said arguably. There were some really nice wins. I mean, New England beating Cincinnati on the road is very impressive. There was a lot of really good wins, but for the Saints to win the manner in which they did was impressive. And, of course, for Dallas to go on the road and beat Cleveland like a drum when Cleveland was the best defense in the NFL a year ago is impressive. So we'll see how this all sorts to normalize a bit. The Saints are a 6.5-point road favorite in Dallas on Sunday. We'll see how much closer and how much healthier they may get as we get closer to the game. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.